Good evening, lords and ladies. DJ Craigie here for a very special edition of the Progeny Behind the Fang podcast with my amazing wife and co-host, Ming Chow, Neapolitan Wu. Joining us today is our very special guest, the one and only Diabolic Antonia, and the one and only Babu. Welcome to you both.
Thank you. It's my pleasure
Thank,
to be here.
thank you, thank you.
Welcome. It's such an honor to have you, Diabolic Antonia. And you too, Lord Babu.
Thank you,
Well,
thank
I'm
you.
sure I'm sure someone will enjoy this.
Oh, most
Lots of
definitely.
people. Thousands,
All
I'm
this
sure.
charisma in one room. It's going to be awesome. We have a very special topic we're going to talk about, and it is called the Knights of the Shielded Blood. So please, let's jump right in. Tell us about this Knights idea and how it came about.
Okay. Well, basically, this is going to be hopefully a very exciting project for the community. One of the things that we have discussed a lot with the rise of renegade factions and various people enjoying progeny in different ways is the fact that some people like to consider themselves more of a kind of a gamer within the system.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that we've discovered is that there's a lot of people who like to take a, how can I best put this? They like to take an aggressive stance in terms of combat.
Mm-hmm.
And we felt that one of the things that would really complement that would be if they had a fighting force to actually be pitted against.
I like that
So
idea.
yeah, we thought, in one way, if we've got people who want to play in a kind of antagonist role, then having a kind of white hat force to balance against that, to give something much more meaningful for their combat, and also to kind of produce a buffer zone.
Mm-hmm.
And Babu, would you like to add a little something to that?
um, yeah, so basically, it's for people that can RP in a way where we're fighting against people that want to be want somebody to fight against, even if it's ones that don't fight, like they're non-combat players. We'll be the ones that be basically protecting them and fighting against the combatants. So it gives something on both sides, and there'll be some RP involved as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll
Yeah.
be
Basically, where a lot of this came from was a significant period of time ago in the system, Babu had come up with the idea of having sort of people acting in a protective way of others that don't really want to get involved in the combat. At the moment, an awful lot of complaints tend to come from people not wanting to engage in combat versus people who identify very strongly as combatants.
Mm-hmm.
So what we wanted to do was find a middle ground so that both sides can kind of have a buffer between that and everyone in the system can enjoy expressing themselves in different ways.
And I gotta say, that's very commendable to also, I don't want to say protect, but it gives that extra little bit of comfort to the non-combatant people that are currently being forced into combat, whether they like it or not.
Yeah, I mean, the realism aspect of it is very important. So what we discussed a lot in the meeting of the Diabolic Conclave where this was discussed with Lasheel, we basically thought, well, if you took this back to sort of feudal times and you were imagining a group that weren't skilled in combat, say in a village somewhere, and they wanted to go to another village, and they knew that there were horrors out there, there were really going to be problems that they would have to face, but they weren't skilled for that, then they
Mm-hmm.
might employ the services of a group who were skilled for it. So you'd bring in something like some kind of warrior knights who would be employed in the form of a contract to actually act as sort of knight protectors. And that was really the kind of that was where the idea originally sort of stemmed from. So we expanded that into this title of Knights of the Shielded Blood, and then we thought, well, Babu had already, he's known for taking part in combat. He does all the stuff that he does with the Ravage,
Mm-hmm.
And he's also come up with, this protection idea before. So whereas that wasn't particularly what we thought would fit and gel well with the system, we thought maybe that could be sort of brought into this. And that really sort of made him the logical person to put at the head of this. So we're giving Babu a lot of free rein with this to sort out a lot of the structure that's going on with it. In terms of the different roles that knights will have, how they're going to have different rankings. The source is very keen to, produce some items and things that will really enhance the role play of this. But it will allow people that don't want to take part in combat to have a champion on their behalf, who then, the people who do want to get involved in the combat, can really kind of, get into some meaningful, fun combat with.
I gotta say I love it because it also allows we'll say combatant to, I don't want to say choose side, but they can either choose to do more of the noble fighting or, the latter.
Yes,
They
exactly.
can be a hero. It's awesome. It's an amazing concept.
I mean, one of the things that the source was very, very keen to address is people, particularly those on the RRO side of the community, I think a sort of feeling at the moment that they're looked on as the bad guys because they like to do the combat. And we want to address that because Progeny is here for everybody. So there's nothing intrinsically wrong in wanting to portray that role. And that's the thing, because there's nothing wrong with it, it's the thing that we support. But we also support the other side of the community. So our job is making something so that everyone can meaningfully do their thing. The guys that want to come and, attack other vampires, do their thing, try and, take out the other little groups that are there, they should be able to do that. But it's how do we find a comfortable way for everyone to be able to sort of do that in a way that, it's not going to produce as many complaints and people feeling that they don't have a place in the system.
Mm-hmm. Well, or essentially, like being forced into combat. I love it because it just adds that extra shield of security.
It's very well rounded. I think the community will love it.
I mean, it's there for the RP as well, and I know that Babu is going to be an excellent person to actually lead on this because of the work that he's done with the Ravage. Particularly in that, he's used to sort of organising groups together to get involved in the combat. It'll mean that you have antagonists and people for the antagonists to really, have meaningful combat with. But, hopefully everyone will enjoy it. It's a project that's ongoing. We're going to grow it into something interesting, but, it should just mean that combat isn't just going to be kicking in one direction, and then it should be able to be enjoyed for everybody. That's the hope, anyway.
I think it's going to evolve into something epic. I think everyone's going to love it. So, now what is the mission of the Knights of the Shielded Blood?
Oh, I think I better turn over to Babu for that.
Yeah. So the mission basically is once a contract is agreed upon and the terms are worked out, the Knights will basically escort the clients to defend him, and if anybody comes in, then the Knights will handle anything that comes about. We'll identify ourselves and give warning to the combatants that are coming in that they will have to basically do their fighting with us and not our clients. There will be a time limit. It can't be something that's going to be for like 24 hours or like 3 hours, and it's also going to be dependent on the availability of the Knights also as well. There'll be a time frame that is set for them and everything. So, but yeah, our duty is going to be to protect the client at all costs.
Okay, so the mission is to keep the client alive no matter what. And so did y'all hear that? Some of your avid shoppers, you're going to have to schedule this. You can't be shopping for hair 5 days a week. Right, Lord Babu?
That's
we're
correct.
Break it up.
Got to switch your days out.
Yeah, and sadly no Knights as hosts, right, for us DJs.
No.
No, it's we won't be if you're working that's going to be like something different because there's already like stuff in place for workers not to be attacked.
Yes.
So won't be something like that, and we're not going to be like aggressors to like say if you want to hire us to do like fight your battle against somebody else. That's not the purpose of this at all.
Yes. No freebie galaxy, folks.
Well, not just freebie galaxy, but any sim that if you have a problem with someone, you're not going to hire us to fight your battle for you. Like, say you want to hire me because you have a problem with somebody in like the Black Red or something, we're not going to go and fight them for you. That's something that's outside of RRP. RRP is basically to combat people that are trying to come and attack you while you're shopping or you're at a wedding or something like that to that extent.
Okay.
I mean,
Something of
basically,
value, a purpose.
I mean, there's two sides to it. So if you think about it, the knights have, the way we're structuring it is that they have a code, which Babu's actually come up with and fleshed out a great deal in terms of, what will make this person a chivalrous knight. And if people fit in with that, then that prevents the thing from being, put to malign purpose, because you're not going to, with the examples that Babu's given, those are misusing a service. And as much as whenever we make any device or any system whatsoever, there's always people who want to try and push it to the limit and see how they can use it to get round a little rule here or something like that. The human element is making sure that that doesn't happen. So we're going to, work together to try and make sure that it stays balanced, because otherwise it's an unfair advantage against the people who want to come and engage in combat, which is not what we want, and, vice versa. It shouldn't be a thing that's going to push things in the favour of one side or the other. It should be a thing to make things enjoyable for both sides.
And I totally respect that, because, like, no one having an unfair advantage still keeps it a fair fight, which will entice a lot of combatants. So, okay.
Impartial and neutral.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's removing the argument of someone turning up and saying, well, my being a progeny vampire means I'm here to attack you. That's me being a vampire. And the other person turning around and saying, but that doesn't fit in with how I'm a vampire. This is putting someone in the middle who can say, look, if you want to come at someone, I'm the person that is here for you to come at. So take down the protector and, then try going after the people who will probably scatter, because that's good RP. That's what would happen. So it's adding in a nuance to make things more enjoyable for both sides, hopefully.
Yeah, and the dynamic is going to be fantastic.
And certainly a middle guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that it'll be supported from both sides of the community. I mean, you're always going to get some people that are going to go, wow, I hate this. But, that's just how things go. It's about finding things that are best for everybody, really. And I really think that if, the RRO community that want to act as Diablerists lean into this, then I think it could be something that they would really enjoy as well. I'm hoping so, anyway.
Well,
as am I.
I am definitely very interested. I think it's going to go over pretty well myself. It's and adding the whole new element to the whole progeny system is it just makes it so much more. I love it. Are there any let's say any scenarios, like you stated, it could be like when they go to a wedding or shopping, for example. Are there any like scenarios that you have in mind yet that you could share with us anyway? I know it's kind of in production.
Just an example, so the community has a better idea of how it might work.
Oh, I'll throw that to Babu. Demons don't do examples. We tend to eat everything in sight, so...
Yes, correct.
Lord Babu, is this me going to Truth Hair and I need to get some hair for the wedding? If I don't, I'll be bald. So how are you going to help me out if I hire you?
if you were to do a contract with the Knights, somebody will be there to protect you. And if some combatants decide to come in and they want to attack you while you're getting your hair, the Knights will engage in combat and announce who we are and what we're there to do. And after that, we'll see what happens. I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't want to give away um, the advantage of our side of how things are going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But
I
Let's
mean,
end a secret society. We gotta
mhm,
remember that.
mhm. I mean, one thing that I would add to it that hopefully won't be too much of a spoiler is that this will fit in very, very well with the Dominions. Um, it should also fit in with what the source has spoken on a number of occasions about, land domination and areas becoming ruled by particular groups of vampires. And this will fit in with that a lot, we're hoping. If you can picture in your mind the idea that your mission is you want to go to a particular store, but it's in one part of the human world that's that's a bad part of town in terms of the vampire world. That's looked over by particular groups, and they're out to get you. Then you're going to want to bring some protection with you,
Mm-hmm.
so that when a battle starts, you've got something there on your side. It's that kind of thing. There's a lot of things that people can draw out of this, or it could just be used in a very simplistic way. It it's one of these things that the more you put into it, the more you'll get out.
exactly.
Wow.
I think this sounds so exciting. It's just, it's very exciting.
And with the new
So,
factions, it's wow, just a lot upcoming. It's super cool.
yeah. So now tell us who can become a knight and how might someone like myself apply? I'm live for
um,
everyone.
everyone is able to apply. There is an application that's been drawn up that I did, and thanks to the Scribes team translators, it's translated into Portuguese, French, Italian, Russian, Spanish, and of course it's in English. So yeah, anyone is able to fill it out. I will be putting a note card giver on the Progeny stand where our office is, so people can get the note card and they can fill it out, and then there'll be a spot to turn it back in, or they can just pass it to me, and then me and another will go through them, and then we'll reach back out to the client, meet with them, and go over the terms and conditions, and then we'll set up a
Cool.
time and day for us to go and protect the client
And just go
to
from
make the
there.
blood bond connection with the medallion.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
That
this is
is
going to be signed with blood.
well. This I gotta say is super exciting, and I really want to thank you both for taking your time out to come and explain this. I'm sure it's going to excite a lot of people, and the applications are going to come rolling in. I know I'm
It,
checking it out.
it's worth making an appearance with a croaky throat and too many flowers outside the window.
Absolutely. Now, I have a few questions for Diabolic Antonia, if she will allow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Inquiring minds want to know this. And first, before I do ask it, I promise a few people I say, it's fall, y'all. So, okay, we got that out of the way. Send your hate mail to DJ Craigie. Okay, so now,
Oh,
Diabolic Antonia. Um, the eyeballs, about how many eyeballs, apparently, in the COL group for those misbehaving children have you eaten, skewed, taken? What do you think? What are we thinking here?
oh, I think counting would be unfair and it would definitely be boastful. So let's just say one's the telling and two if I really get annoyed.
And I'm hoping to keep my eyeballs, so we won't add two more to that. I know everyone is absolutely enchanted with the songs that you come up with, that you post in the group. How do you always seem to have the most perfect song to fit all occasions?
Oh, the records. Well,
Yes.
um, records have been around for a couple of hundred years. They're a wonderful human torture device. It's amazing. It really is. All you have to do is play the wrong piece of music at someone, and oh, it's crazy. You can almost watch their livers wanting to come out through their ears. I love that. It's a demonic thing that, it reaches a point in your existence where you sit down and you take stock of reality And then you realise that all matter is merely energy condensed into a slow vibration, and that we're all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. There is no such thing as death. Life is only a dream, and that we are the imagination of ourselves. And then, when you really have someone in that moment, you play Shalimar to them and ruin their day.
Definitely.
Oh,
Especially if they don't have no eyeballs as well. Oh my gosh.
the power of
Yeah.
music. I always tell her
Yes,
that.
absolutely. Well, I just am totally like glamorized by your songs that you choose. It's absolutely amazing. So when Diabolic Antonia, y'all ask you to take it to chit chat. Now you better run on over there. You hear? So okay. Well, whew. Lord Babu, do you have anything you would like to say to the community about this before we close?
Don't be discouraged. Give it a chance. Try out some new RP. Get involved. You never know which way it's going to go. I think it's going to be for the better of everyone in the community. Anyone can join. Give it, like I said, just give it a chance. You'll have some fun. Get involved some good RP, and also
Just meet some
getting
new
the ushers
friends too.
involved too. Yeah, you can make new friends. You got to leave all your stuff at the door, and then just when you're on duty, you're on duty. Once you get off duty, then go back to ripping out eyeballs and give them to Diabolic and their collection.
Hey, my new
In
ceramic
a jar
ones,
as a
I'm
gift.
keeping them.
Dear.
Diabolic Antonia, is there anything you would like to address with the community before we close?
Um, I would just say that things get very heated in the progeny community. Um, People are very passionate, and the thing about that passion is that it shows that people have a care for the way that they experience progeny and the way that they use progeny. And even if you feel that you're at a negative side of that or on the end of it in a way that you don't like, um, it shows that there is passion for this system, which is ever expanding and ever changing. And there is support from our side as well as from the community to keep this ever changing system growing, changing into new and different things. And there will always be a place for every kind of player within Progeny. And I say that as someone who, some people like to say that I have partiality for some people. I really don't. I hate all of you.
All hated equal. Do y'all hear that? Well, Craig and I have always been a big fan and admirer of you. So it's a great honor to have been able to speak to you today to interview you with Lord Babu. We really thank you both for coming.
Yes, it
Well, I shall
is.
I shall pop back some other time, perhaps, probably with a slightly less croaky voice.
Oh, we would love that. I know the community would love that as well.
Most definitely. I want to thank you both as well. It has been an honor, and I cannot wait to apply. So make sure you stay tuned, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great night.
Before
Very good.
y'all, good night.
Take care.